From Greece to Norway, from Spain to England, hiking is hip. Hiking is young, hiking is green and healthy, and you can only get up close when you're on foot, everywhere in Europe.
Sometimes it's hard to match the topography to the map because there's so many small hills and ups and downs. But the way is so clearly marked that it's I have to try really hard to get lost here. So I think I'm going that way.
Bradley Mayhew is a Brit living in the United States. He writes travel and trekking guides, usually in faraway Asia. Now he's exploring the most beautiful hiking trails of Europe. There's a coastal footpath in southwest England that's over 1,000 kilometres long. The most beautiful leg of the trail begins at St Ives, a fishing village in Cornwall. And this is where Bradley Mayhew is meeting Paul Simmons.
Bradley, and you, Paul? Yeah, thank you very much. Good to be here. Nice day.
Well, we've got some good weather for you and some good walking.
You've done your job well already. Good.
No problem. Come this way.
All right.
For over 15 years now, Paul has accompanied hiking enthusiasts from around the world. On the coast of southwest England, the demand for hiking guides has been increasing steadily. A continuous long-distance trail, the Coast Path was opened in the 1970s. Most of it, however, is much older. Long ago, the narrow path was used by smugglers and shipwreck plunderers. Today, hikers walk it for the beautiful wild coastal scenery of Cornwall.
I would say I'm particularly looking forward to this hike, being on my own home turf. I spent a lot of time learning about foreign countries, so it'll be nice to actually learn about my own neck of the woods this time. And I love the sea. I live a long way from the sea, so it'll be lovely just to be following the coast and speak my own language for a change, which will be, hopefully will make things a little bit easier.
Pendine Lighthouse is the first of many lighthouses on the coast path. The rugged coastline with its cliffs and reefs is dangerous, especially when visibility is poor.
Well, Bradley, this is a good example of why there will be a lighthouse close by. This is called the Three Stone Ore Reef, and it has been a site of many of these shipwrecks here, of which there will be thousands along the coast here. Well, Bradley, this is a really good example of how many shipwrecks we actually have. Each individual one here is a shipwreck. This is the whole of Cornwall. You start at the south coast, head down to the Lizard, the southernmost point, all the way around to Land's End. And where we are is Pendine Watch. You can see how many there are out there. And you go further up towards St Ives and the north coast. Well, there's a couple of reasons why there is a definitive coast path. One is the shipwrecks, and one is the smuggling. Now, with the smuggling, there's lots of coves here, quite hidden, and people would use the coast, and they knew the little paths that they could create so they could bring all their contraband up from these coves. The other thing is with the actual shipwrecks here, people will be following the shipwrecks all the way around. So in the end, all they did was they linked all these bits of the path up, and they created one whole coast path.
The coast path in the southwest of England runs for 1,014 kilometres and is the longest coastal hiking path in Europe. A 280-kilometre long section runs from St Ives along the cliffs of Cornwall to Plymouth. Tin and copper mining is as closely tied to the history of Cornwall as seafaring. In 1850, two-thirds of all the copper worldwide was mined on this coast. The countless mines employed up to 50,000 workers.
I mean, wherever the tin and copper lodes were in Cornwall, that's where the miners would follow. And this is a great example. They would actually have a vein here that's 70 to 80 degrees out there. They would go a mile out there and they would be in cramped conditions. It would be hot, it would be dark. The fact that it's actually 70 to 80 degrees means that just above their head, they could hear the actual rocks rolling on the seabed right above their heads. It's quite amazing.
The remnants of Cornwall's mining industry are now listed as a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site. On the second day of hiking, Bradley and Paul reach one of the most striking places on the coastal trail, Land's End, the most westerly point of mainland England.
Well, Bradley, we've made it 20 miles from St Ives.
Okay.
And this is the furthest part west that we can go.
This is the end of the world, is it?
Well, yeah, it's the end of the UK, and over there, the Cornish miners would say, is the next parish.
Water, and then America.
That's it.
Well, that's where I live. 5,000 miles that way.
Right. Well, let's make a move for it.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
Good.
The following day brings good weather, and Bradley's making good time, so he's decided to take a short break. These can be found everywhere along the coast of Cornwall, rescue stations of the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. The rescue service was founded in the mid-19th century, above all to assist the fishermen of the stormy coastline. The captain of the rescue ship, Andrew Putt, has invited Bradley to watch a practice drill.
Okay? Yep. It'll be fine.
Once on board, everything goes very fast.
So, Andrew, the lifeboat service here has a long history, doesn't it, on the Lizard?
It certainly does, yeah.
It seems quite essential to Cornish culture and history in a way.
It's essential to all cultures right around the country, not just Cornish. Everywhere you go, there's a lifeboat station. Wherever you see a lifeboat station, there'll be a lot of pride in it. It's not a job, it's a way of life. I've been doing it for 28 years and it's in your blood. You just can't get rid of it. So it's just a way of life. If you know the challenges that life throws at you, you don't know what's around the next corner. We could be here now, 25 or 5 minutes later, we could be off 25 miles. You just don't know what's going to happen. And that's the adrenaline. Plus, actually helping somebody when you come back, it really is a good feeling.
But it's an all-volunteer service, isn't it?
It's all volunteer. There's two of us that are paid full-time,
Yeah.
myself and the mechanic.
Okay.
We're full-time, but the rest are all volunteers. And all the money that's raised to run the service is all done by voluntary contributions.
Once a week, Andrew and his crew do a practice drill at sea. Today, real rescue deployments are relatively rare. Fishermen seldom get in distress. Usually it's hobby sailors who underestimate the dangers of the fickle seas off Cornwall. Time and again, the trail leads through unpopulated areas and across a countryside shaped by wind and sea.
I like hiking alone as well. It gives you the peace of mind to really settle and center yourself a bit more. And on a hike like this, a coastal path, you're hiking through places that you just can't get to by car. So you have these special, beautiful places all to yourself, and you see them at different times of day, different light, different tides. I think hiking and visiting these places by foot is a completely different experience, one I totally recommend.
The coastal trail leads through a variety of fishing villages. Mousel is one of them. Right now, in August, it's high season, so even the beach exposed in the port basin at low tide is taken over by sunbathers. In Cornwall, the Gulf Stream ensures a mild climate. Some fishing villages have become fashionable seaside resorts, like Penzance, with its Jubilee bathing pool, which is built into the sea.
I've been hiking for a few days now, and it's surprisingly hot for an English summer's day. So I'm going to give myself a break, take a few hours to lie by the pool. This is a great old Art Deco pool dating from 1935. This was when the train came here from London in the end of the 19th century. This was a real favourite place for Londoners to get a break by the seaside. So I'm just going to take it easy for a few hours before I strap on the hiking boots and get going again.
No diving, please.
All kinds of accommodation can be found along the coast path in Cornwall, but sometimes a night under the stars is simply too inviting.
I am quite tired today. It's been a few days walking now. I didn't quite get as far as I should have done, but I have found such a fantastic spot here. It's so nice and quiet. I just call it an evening here and just enjoy the sunset. I mean, these are the moments you hike for. These are the moments to savor, not just push through. So I'm gonna have an early night and take it easy here for a few hours. Lovely spot.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
After a cold night in the tent, the next morning Bradley decides to make an early start of it. His route takes him through the harbour of Newlyn, the most important fishing port of Cornwall. The sun hasn't even risen yet, but the deep-sea fishermen are already unloading their catch.
1,077 kilo there then. 780.
The bidding process is difficult for outsiders to understand. There are no visible hand movements, but the auctioneer knows how to interpret every wink. Once the bidder has bought his fish, the purchase is marked with a name slip. Since sardines have become rare, Darren Payne now auctions haddock, cod and flatfish.
Yeah, good. Do you mind me asking a few questions?
Certainly, that's fine.
So who are you selling to? Is it mostly local fishmongers or restaurants?
Yeah, I would say this morning, the majority of that fish will be for the restaurant sort of trade. But the Megrim soles, which is the bulk of the beamer catch, will go for export. That'll go to Spain or France. Yeah. As a nation, we're not massive fish eaters.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you take a walk around somewhere like an harbour around France, you'll have lots of little places selling mussels and clam. I mean, we've got that to a certain, but not like they do.
And I think I caught your eye earlier on. I'm a bit worried that I just bought 200 kilos of fish. You're not. I'm not in the book, am I?
No.
I'm
normally pretty good. I know who everybody is, and you know they've all got their own sort of unique ways of bidding.
Yeah,
it's
quite hard to follow who's eye contact.
It is quite hard. You know, it's something I've been doing since I left school. You know, what am I now? 44. So I've been doing it for a few years. But yeah, trying to write, listen, and watch at the same time sometimes is a little bit difficult. Yeah.
Go on. 420, 440, 460, 460, 460, 480, 480, 460.
In the Bay of Penzance, just across from the small village of Marazion, lies the fortified island of St. Michael's Mount, which is considered the jewel of Cornwall. The castle was modelled after its French counterpart, Mont Saint-Michel. It originally served as a monastery and only later became a noble's residence. Bradley has an appointment with an old school friend. Adam Poole is a personal assistant for the aristocratic family of St. Alban. Since the 17th century, 12 generations of the family have resided in the fortress. Like all the staff, Adam lives on the island with his family.
Here we are at the church. This is
chapel, isn't it?
This is the oldest part of the buildings that we see. It's right on the pinnacle of the rock. It's kind of the heartbeat of the place, really. It's all built around this. So, next year, I'm hoping to get married here. So we've got a wedding planned.
Wonderful.
Thank you. So yes, we're hoping to tie the knot here. So it'd be quite a special place.
Nice.
Making it even more special.
I'll just wait for my invitation in the post then.
It'll be on its way.
A reason to come back. Excellent.
The church was built after the Norman conquest in 1070. At that time, the island was given to the Benedictine monks of Mont Saint-Michel in France.
That's quite a dramatic view, isn't it?
It's lovely, isn't it? You look down onto the gardens from up here. You can see the private path for Lord and Lady St. Leven.
Wow. Yeah.
Quite a long way up, higher than the palm trees.
Gardens are really, really well maintained, aren't they?
We have a team of gardeners who are working on there all year round, so it keeps them busy.
Yeah, lovely. How nice to have your own personal manicured island.
Yeah, it's very special.
I could live with that. Sundial, is it?
That's correct, yes. Got a sundial. Nice strong sun today, so we can use it.
So what time is it?
The numbers around here. It's a bit more complicated than that, I'm afraid. Obviously, we've got the hour difference that you allow for summertime, and also this would have been pre-Greenwich Mean Time, so it would have been about 18 minutes out. And the Victorians introduced that, obviously, with the railways to make sure that everyone was catching the train at the same time, depending on where you were in the countries. Okay, you can see over in the harbour now, you can see the boats working. The boats, and they dropped you off because the water was a lot higher, it was high tide. The causeway starting to appear from under the sea.
Emerging from the sea.
That's correct, as the sea goes out, and then later the causeway.
Is that how your kids go to school every morning?
The children will go to school on the boats in the morning, and they also, if tide's open, they'll get a lift off, so we kind of keep them at school. We try not to keep them here.
It's complicated living on
It
land.
is very complicated.
Not as easy as it looks.
No, you have to think about everything, and you're always planning ahead. It all revolves around the sea as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stormy weather, we can sometimes not manage to get off at all, so we do have to keep some stuff in the freezer for those occasions as well.
Yeah, you go a bit stir crazy every now and then, I guess.
That's correct, yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
St Michael's Mount is famous right across the UK, and not just because of its location. The St Albans are one of the oldest families of British nobility.
This room here would have originally been the Lady Chapel. It's now the Blue Drawing Room. You can see there's several portraits of the family that's resident at the moment, the St Alban family, along the walls. We had the Queen visit this year as well. She sat at this table here and signed the visitors book. And you can see a couple of years ago we had Prince Charles and Camilla. They visited as well. You've got Lord and Lady St Leven there and their 2 sons in that picture there.
And this is where Queen Victoria sat, is it?
That's right, 1846, Queen Victoria visited. She sat on the settee here, served a cup of tea.
It's amazing the British connection with the royal family. For all these centuries, it's still, still just as popular as they were.
We still hold them quite dear to our hearts and support them where we can.
It's living history, isn't it?
That's right.
Smartphones have also taken hold among hikers. Above all, the electronic treasure hunt, commonly known as geocaching, is popular. The GPS coordinates of the hidden geocache are published on the internet and, with the help of a smartphone, can be used for the search.
And the geocaching sites here, they leave little treasures for you to find when you go hiking. So you can take one as long as you leave one. So I'm going to take this one along with me, take it on one of my trips, one of my future hikes, and hide it again. Leave this one in its place so the next person who comes along has a little treasure to swap as well. It says Prussia Pressure, that's the name of this geocache. And then all the names of the people that have found it. They seem to be taking almost pirate names. Beardy Man, the Frisky Piskies, and Andy from Redroth.
All hikers who find the treasure document their success by signing the geocache logbook. And then they hide it again. Bradley's been en route for a week now.
Morning.
Hi, nice day for it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Excuse me, did someone steal your shoes?
Oh no, I don't wear shoes actually.
You don't wear shoes?
No, not
Okay.
if I can help it.
Why is that?
Well, it just feels better actually.
Really?
Once you've, yeah.
Doesn't it hurt?
The first time you do it, I have to admit, it does hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But then very quickly you get used to it, and actually I prefer it now.
Really?
Mm.
You feel the ground differently, I guess, or more connected to the...
Exactly.
Yeah?
You can get all the different textures as you're walking along and get the not just the views and the smells and the sounds, but it adds another sensation to your whole walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
You going to try it?
I'd like to. I think my feet are too soft. I think it would hurt me, wouldn't it?
Well, when you take your shoes off, your eyes open wider, actually.
Yeah.
But this is a bit crunchy. If we're going this way, do you want to come
Yeah.
along? There's an easier bit further along.
Yeah, I'll try it. That sounds
Okay.
good.
Julie Hansen is a coast path ranger. She's responsible for a few kilometres of the trail.
It's cold.
It's refreshing.
Refreshing. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah. So how long have you been walking barefoot then?
It's about 2.5 years now.
Really?
Just about, yeah.
You can
And
tell
carried on.
you've been doing it for a while. Yeah, I should
Let's
try,
go for
shouldn't
it.
I? How long does it take for your soles to toughen up?
Just a couple of weeks, really, to get used to walking barefoot, and then over the last couple of years, it's just sort of become more robust as I've gone on.
Walking barefoot over stony rocks and crags isn't for everyone. Walking across Julie's favourite beach, however, is a lot more enjoyable. The long cove of Pra Sands is very popular with surfers. Towards the close of the 18th century, the infamous smuggler John Carter lived close to the beach. From the nearby Prussia Cove, he controlled all smuggling from northern France.
This is one of those perfect smugglers' coves, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it
because
really
it's
is.
so hidden, you can't see from the top. You see the tracks down here, where the tracks would, the carts would come along, and then into the caves where they would unload. And it's said that they've made tunnels from the caves down here up to the buildings and the houses up at the top, where they'd hide all their stuff.
It was a major operation, wasn't it?
Major. It was a very big. That was in the 1770s.
So what were they smuggling?
All sorts of things. They had tea, tobacco, alcohol, all the luxury goods that were really highly taxed at the time. But in Cornwall, apparently, it was just accepted. It wasn't deemed to be naughty or...
Yeah, they were quite honest. They felt they were quite honest, upstanding people. They weren't criminals. They were,
No, they were famous for it. They were Methodists, the family, the Carter family, and they wouldn't even allow swearing on their boats. No.
Swearing but no... smuggling but no swearing.
Smuggling but no swearing, exactly.
One of Julie's tasks on the coast path is to weed out certain plants.
That's the ragwort, and
okay.
it's not good for the ponies. No, it's a little bit toxic to horses and cows. We leave a little bit for wildlife, but I've got more to pull up here.
Okay, I'll leave you to your work.
Enjoy the rest of your walk.
Yeah,
Lovely
thanks very much.
You.
It's been lovely walking
Bye-bye.
with you. Bye-bye.
The trail takes Bradley to the Lizard Peninsula. Over recent years, long stretches of the coast of Cornwall have been declared conservation areas. And at one such nature reserve, Bradley set up a meeting. The biologist Justin Whitehouse is a specialist in edible wild plants growing along the coast path. In Cornwall, there are wild plants that are relatives or even ancestors of some of our modern crop plants.
Yeah, this is rock samphire, and it's quite common, growing all along the splash zone around the edge of the cliffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just kind of nibble on the leaves.
It's quite exotic.
It is, isn't it? I was thinking it tastes a bit like Bombay mix.
Yeah, a bit salty and peppery.
Yeah, a bit spicy.
Yeah.
Oh, look, this is. I don't think this is going to quite fill you up.
Okay.
But This is a wild carrot.
Oh, really?
So this is what all carrots today, the world over, originated from this plant here.
Oh.
There we are, look at that.
Oh, okay. It's white,
it's white.
Not orange.
Well, all carrots were, actually until quite recently. Or yellow, if anything, but yeah, it looks a bit like a carrot, albeit quite a small carrot.
Yeah. Can you eat it raw, or do you have to cook it?
Well, should we find out? It's a bit.
Quite sweet. Taste of carrot.
Yeah, that'll be all right with a bit of cooking.
Yeah.
I suppose it's taken kind of thousands of years of kind of breeding to get to the carrots we've got today.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that, you know, that's the precursor of all today's carrots.
Yeah.
Quite a few edible wild plants grow along the sides of streams.
What's this one?
This is sea beet, and this grows all around our coast, southwest of England. It's the precursor of every single beet in the world. Sugar beet, beetroot, all those beet family, all originated from this. We'll try it, it's more than edible, but cooked, it is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a bitterness to it.
We've lost touch with nature. We've lost that connectivity. Food comes from the supermarket, and the countryside is somewhere you don't touch, you go to look at. And all our food comes from this land. We might be better at looking after it. We might respect it a bit more. So I would encourage people to get out and forage, find a good book, go on a course, and actually go and see. And the countryside has some fantastic food to offer for free.
Out amongst nature, in untouched regions like Cornwall, it's fun to go foraging. The search for edible wild plants is gaining ever-increasing popularity. The Bay of Kynance Cove is one of the most beautiful places on Cornwall's coast.
I'm on a place called the Lizard, which is the far southern point of England. It's a tidal beach, so it's only accessible for a few hours a day. Problem with stopping in such a beautiful place, surrounded by people lying on the beach, sunbathing and eating ice cream, is it makes it remarkably difficult to then put on your backpack and start climbing up the edge of a cliff again. But if I don't get going now, I'll never make it tonight. It's time to start walking again.
The Lizard Lighthouse stands at the edge of Lizard Point. For centuries, the lighthouse has marked the northern entrance to the English Channel. After a long day of hiking, Bradley's looking forward to finding a hotel and an evening visit to the local pub. The pub is an institution and is already crowded early on. Above all, it's the local fishermen who come here for a dark beer and, on occasion, singing a shanty, an English sailor's song. In the pub, Bradley arranged a meeting for the morning. John Tonkin is taking him crab fishing. Every morning, John hauls in the crab traps that he set on the seafloor the day before. He lures the crabs into the baskets with fish bait. Most of the crabs he throws back into the sea. He only keeps the best.
What makes a good, healthy crab?
The colour, nice golden brown.
Okay.
Also, the worm casts on his back.
What does that show?
You can tell that he hasn't cast his shell in a long time.
Okay.
So he's a good quality crab.
Lobster is a delicacy in Cornwall. In a restaurant, a single one can cost €50 or more.
And there's still young people want to go into fishing?
There is still young people want to go into fishing, but it's so difficult now to just the immense cost of starting.
Yeah,
the boats, the gear, it's just immense. It's immense, you know, and unless you've got money, it's hard to... No bank is going to lend you any money nowadays.
The next day begins with a bit of a treat for Bradley. His father, Alan, is coming to visit. Alan, who lives south of London, is a passionate pilot with his own aircraft. As Bradley lives in the United States, the two rarely get to see each other. The meeting point is a small airfield near the coast.
I made it then. How was the flight?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'll see you again.
Yeah, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, welcome, mate. You've been enjoying your hiking?
Yeah, I'm looking forward for a break though. It'd be nice to see the path from up in the sky.
Well, let's get briefed up. We'll get going. Good. Cheers.
Alan has promised to show Bradley the coast path from a bird's eye perspective.
Yeah, that's it. Put on those fine and right foot in and roll yourself down.
Thank you.
That's right.
Nice and cosy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a job. That's a job for two of us.
Alan's plane is a rarity, a Zimango motor glider from Brazil.
It's nice to see it from this perspective. I've been walking so long, it's nice to...
Well, I'll get some good low-level pictures of the footpath, and the distance we'll cover in minutes that you take hours.
I know. It's a much easier way of doing it. You can see everything from this altitude as well. You can see every part of the trail, and it's really nice.
That's why I love doing it, Fred.
Done some fun things. Went out on with a crab fisherman.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, that was good. I met a lady who only hikes bare feet. She hasn't worn shoes for years.
I've heard of this, and they say it's good for you, but I'm not certain I want to try it.
Alan turns his glider inland to the administrative seat of Cornwall, the city of Truro. Truro's skyline is dominated by the three-towered cathedral. Further inland lies Lanhydrock House, one of the best preserved manor houses of Cornwall. Much of the mansion was built in the 19th century during the reign of Queen Victoria.
See this castle? Can you see it?
bins. Oh yeah, it's amazing. Have a look at that. Yeah, it's like King Arthur's knights. That's where I got the idea from, probably.
According to folklore, Cornwall was the home of the legendary King Arthur. After their 2-hour flight, Bradley's father departs for his journey home.
And it was nice going out with my dad. I haven't seen him for a while, so it was nice to meet him again. Even though he did try and scare me a couple of times with a couple of extremely steep banks, but that's what he does.
In the hinterland of the coast, hikers pass country houses of British nobility. Caerhayes Castle, for example, was built at the beginning of the 19th century by the famous architect John Nash. Caerhayes Castle has been in the possession of the Williams family since then. Aside from the aristocratic estates, Cornwall's reputation has been moulded by the beauty of the venerable Victorian gardens. Bradley is on his way to the lost garden of Heligan. After World War I, the gardens were left unattended and fell into disrepair. Restoration only began 25 years ago. Thanks to the mild climate of the Gulf Stream, even tropical plants thrive in the gardens on the south coast of Cornwall.
Well, back in Victorian England, gardens were all the rages. All the estates would have had their own gardens, providing food, fruits and vegetables for their estate and for the house. But there was a lot of competition between the different estates, and they wanted to find the latest, most remote, exotic new plants and bushes they could find. So they sent off these huge expeditions out to the eastern Himalayas, places like Nepal, Sikkim, and also out to China to try and track down these remote plants, often from some of the remotest jungles on the planet. You know, they were really major, serious expeditions. And a lot of the bushes and plants you see these days, you think are quintessentially English, but actually they've come from some of the remotest locations in China and the Himalayas.
During the time of Queen Victoria, more than 22 gardeners were employed at the Garden of Heligan. Today, there are only a handful. Nicola is responsible for the kitchen garden.
Hi, are you Nicola?
Hello, hi, I am.
Hi, I'm Bradley.
Pleased to meet you, Bradley.
And you too. You look busy.
Yes, yeah. I'm just doing a bit of deadheading at the moment. As you can see, it's quite a long row, so
Can I help you?
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
I've got a spare pair of snips for you there.
Yes, set me to work.
Okay then. Yeah.
Anything that looks past its prime.
That's right, yeah, you can see these ones here just dying back a little bit, and by cutting out those dying flowers we're going to help them keep flowering and keep a good show of colour for longer.
These have been here, or they would have been originally here in the old garden.
Yeah, flowers like this would have been grown for cutting. They would have had to cut so many flowers for the house, big vases of flowers if they had guests for the weekend. So as much as they look beautiful, they're also a crop. You know, they couldn't sort of go to the florist and buy them. They had to grow them. So very important that they had lots and lots of flowers growing in the gardens too.
Yeah, lovely.
After a job well done, Nicola takes Bradley to the greenhouses. Built during the Victorian age, they're heated with horse manure.
Okay, so This is our pineapple pit,
yes.
and it just basically recreates the conditions, the tropical conditions that you need to grow a pineapple, because they were really important back on in the old traditional estates. They were a huge status symbol to say that you could grow pineapples. So obviously, if you had the workforce, the time and effort it takes to grow these single fruits, it cost a fortune. And it was saying, you know, I'm really wealthy, I've got a huge amount of money. If you wanted to pretend that you were richer than you actually were, you used to be able to rent a pineapple for your dinner party.
Really?
So yeah,
they had rent a pineapple businesses?
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously the pineapple had to go back intact. Okay, so this is a very small but perfectly formed pineapple and very ripe and ready to eat. You can smell. So just take that off.
It's so sweet.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. But it's going to taste good for that one.
It smells great, though.
The flavour is amazing. I mean, this is the difference between one grown at home and one bought from the supermarket.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's picked when it's cropped when it's ripened.
Does it taste like a normal? I mean, a big pineapple.
Yeah, absolutely, but better, much better. Yeah, you can come try.
Can I taste it?
Yeah, we'll go and get a knife and eat it.
Great.
Sounds nice and juicy, doesn't it?
Not far away from the lost Garden of Heligan is the portside village of Mevagissi. At one time, the main source of income here was sardine fishing. Today, as in most villages in Cornwall, it's tourism. From here, it's another 80 kilometres on foot to the end point of the hike, but Bradley opts for a shortcut and takes the ferry.
So I'm cheating a little bit here. I'm taking a 40-minute ferry. Will save myself a couple of days hiking. Misses out the little busy built-up area around St Austell. So a 40-minute cheat here will give me a couple of extra days hiking in nicer areas on the trail.
From the town of Foy, Bradley continues on foot again. Foy is located at the mouth of the river of the same name. In the Middle Ages, Foy was an important harbour. English privateers sailed from here when leaving to plunder and raid the French coast. It's another 40 kilometres to the city of Plymouth, the final destination of the hike. It's the last day of hiking in Cornwall. Bradley's reached Rame Head, a coastal headland close to the city of Plymouth. Dave Crocker is a well-known landscape painter in Cornwall.
Hi, it's a nice scene.
Hi, thank you very much, thank you.
The chapel Dave's painting has been a highly visible landmark for local seafarers for centuries.
I think that's it, finished.
Finished?
Yeah.
No last little touch?
No,
Completely done?
that's it, that's it.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll take my last shots.
Okay. Are you professional? You look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I am professional. I painted 365 pictures on the coast path in 1 year.
So did you do one a day, or do you do 5 in 1 day and then sleep for a week?
Sometimes 2 in a day.
Dave Crocker documents the creation of his paintings in time-lapse videos. He later uploads the videos to the internet. Dave and Bradley walk the final kilometres to Plymouth together. Dave used to live abroad, but the Cornwall coast called him home.
So a lot of Cornish people seem to leave when they're young, but they always seem to come back later on in life.
Yeah, I guess they miss it. I came back almost every holiday.
You miss the sea or miss the people?
The pace of life as well.
Yeah, that's nice.
The fact that people have got time for you.
And you spend a lot of time hiking the coast path because of your paintings, right? What do you like about it? What is it about the coast path that you like the most?
Being away from the phone and not being disturbed, and knowing that you're not going to be disturbed. You're aware that you can't be disturbed, and you can just spend as much time as you want doing what you want.
Nice little bit of life in there. Distance.
Shortly before Plymouth, one last time, the path leads through a landscaped park and past a stately home. And then the Cornwall coast path reaches the River Tamar. The county of Cornwall ends here, as does Bradley's hike. Dave Crocker takes Bradley to the river ferry.
Thanks very much. Yeah. Good luck with the painting. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, I've had a great couple of weeks hiking, but now I'm pretty much at the end of the walk. I just have the ferry to take me across to Plymouth. I think from now on, when I get the map out, when I plan my trips, I'm going to have to start looking a bit more at England as a place to go to.